Okay,
Fine.
perfect. Okay, so hello everybody. So camping season is just around the corner. So I invited Stephane Beaulieu to come today. He's the president of the Scouts, and he's going to talk to us about camping and some safety tips. So I hope you guys enjoy. And the floor is yours.
Hi, hello. As Francine said, my name is Stephane Beaulieu, president of Les Scouts, la deuxième Nipissing West, based in Verner. We have a territory, one little Scouts camp, just in the woods. We're a 15-acre lot of nature for the kids to come explore. And we are part of a broad spectrum of different units throughout the province and Quebec. We also belong to a national umbrella of the Scouts, l'Association des Scouts Canada, and our program for the kids is all primarily in French. We're always looking for new members and volunteers. If anybody, if you have kids or grandkids who want to get involved, please feel free to contact us. We're here today to talk about the upcoming camping season and fires and the safety and how to alleviate the tasks of having our forest rangers go out and fight a fire that doesn't need to get out of hand. If you guys care to turn your cameras on or microphones on and participate, I might have some questions that you might want to feel free to give your input back to me as well. So let's start with fire. Why do we need fire? Well, there's different purposes of fire, whether it's like we teach our kids, it's to survive, to cook, or even into getting into campgrounds with other people as far as entertainment, and also for mental health. I know myself, I like to sit by a fire. Sometimes if there's no one around, I'll light a fire and I'll just stare at it and lose myself in my thoughts. And it's kind of therapeutic as well. That in mind, we will process and build our fire to suit our purpose. What I mean by that is, if you're just cooking, you only need a small fire, enough to cook what you need. If it's bacon and eggs in the morning, a couple logs, little coals, get that frying pan nice and hot, and then that's all you need. If it's fire for warmth, a little bit bigger flame, generate some heat, and survive if you're stuck. Like we teach our kids, we're in the wilderness, we're not in campgrounds or this and that, so we don't have a trailer we run into to warm up in. We build a little bit of a bigger fire. We install a windbreak to keep our heat contained, so it's not just going up in the air. Like I said, entertainment, if you're having a few friends around a fire pit, chit-chatting away, nice, creates nice ambience as well. So like I said, the purpose of your fire will determine the size of your fire. Now, like I said, for cooking, if you're cooking a few eggs in a frying pan, you only need a small one. But if you're going to go do a pig roast, you're going to need a little bigger fire pit. Environmental factors that we always take into consideration when we're building our fire or finding out where we're going to put our fire placement is the wind. Wind gusts could come in anytime, and it only takes a bit of wind to blow embers off our fire, spread it to a pile of leaves, branches, and first thing you know, your fire's out of control. Always good to have water on hand, or proximity to a water body where you can run or walk fast and get a pail of water to douse out whatever's out of control. Wetting down the area around your fire pit before you start, so that it lowers the risk things getting out. Also on the ground around your fire pit, if there's leaves, branches, roots, anything else that can easily catch fire and spread, what we're trying to do is promote an environment where you keep it contained. Never let a fire get bigger than what you can control. If you have a lot of ways to control it, like I said, if you sit upwind, your guests around your fire sitting closely together, you can block some of that wind and still enjoy your fire for whatever purposes you're intending. When it comes down to the site, I've already touched on water on hand and removing your debris before. Also having a proper fire pit. I know myself at a campground, we have a big steel 22-foot steel pipe. We build our fire in there. We try not to stack our wood higher than the edge of the fire. The flame rises, so it's very controllable. We have a grill grate that we could put over it if the wind does pick up to prevent the embers coming out. And if you're in nature, gather up some rocks, clean off an area, preferably where you clean all the rocks, and try not to have roots, because fire can travel underground. That's an important thing as well. If you are in an area near trees where there's lots of little running roots, those roots can catch fire and spread without even thinking there's any chance of anything catching. You go away, you think your fire's out, and those roots will reignite and cause the trees to catch. Then we got a bigger problem. A lot of people say don't let kids play with matches. We encourage our kids to play with matches, but we also teach them to respect the matches. Respect what you're putting in the fire, because that's what is going to come around and bite you in the behind. The last thing we want to do is run into a firefighter or a ministry officer and have to admit, yeah, I lit that fire that burned down, that created this wildfire that spread into, needing helicopters to come put something out. We all been through a situation in the last couple of years where we had dry season and fire bans and fires that were out of control, and we don't want to be putting anybody else's lives at risk. It's things to think about. If anybody wants to jump in, if anything, they have any experiences they want to talk about, feedback, more than welcome to.
I did actually have a friend who was, he had some brush to burn or whatever in his backyard, and it actually started catching. It was early in the spring too, and there's some snow on the ground, but he thought he was okay, and it started spreading into the field a bit. And he did actually have to call the fire department, but they contained it before it did any damage really. But he let me know how scary it can be, and how quickly it can happen. So
yeah, I had my friends and I were having a campfire at a trailer, and we had put out the fire, thought it was like totally put out, and it was like 2 o'clock in the morning. We see like flames. We're like, what the heck? And we go out, and the fire was like full on, like in the pit, but like going. We were like, thought we had totally put it out. So then we learned.
Yeah. So the thing about fire is, for the fire to keep burning, things need to stay hot. So if you're able to cool down whatever's burning, like your wood, the cooler you get, the harder it is for it to recatch. So that's the easiest thing to do, is douse it with water, let the white smoke, because that's your water boiling off of what's already hot. Same thing with lighting your fire. If we light fires in the winter, everything's full of snow and frozen, so we'll shave our wood down very thin pieces, and that is easier for that material to reach temperature for it to ignite. Now, like you said, it's easier to put out a little match, right? That's nice and dry timber. A little match will carry a flame, but if you blow on it, it cools it down. The cooling aspect puts it out, right? But if you're on a nice hot sunny day, just the sun acting on that is warming that little matchstick up. It could, under the right conditions, reignite. With a fire pit that's been burning for a few hours, we all go out at the trailer, at 7 o'clock, we light the fire for the kids, we let them make their s'mores. Okay, kids go to bed, the adults come out and, have their evening of fun. And then it's 3 a.m. Well, from 7 to 3, that's 8 hours there that it's been burning and it's hot. And a lot of the times I've come out the next morning and I just throw a little bit of dry wood and there's my fire again, because those coals are still hot. With our Scouts kids, we have a fire burning all the time. We get up in the morning, we start the fire, we're cooking on that. All right, we let it die down, little coals burning. Then come lunchtime, we start it up again, we cook and let it go down. And for the evening, we just get those coals burning again to reignite for the evening event of campfires, sing along songs, and all that fun stuff that kids love to do. One thing I forgot to mention now is never leave your fire unattended. Even after it seems to have gone out, it's not smoking, it's not burning. Like Michaela said, it's still hot. It could ignite anytime. So make sure, check it again. When you think you're done putting water on it, put more water. Never leave it to chance. So that's the thing need to stress about. So we're done pretty much talking with fires. As far as the camping safety is, once again, it's all summer long. So this time of the year, May, June, it's not so bad, but the sun, sunburn, it gets you any time of year, even in the winter time, ice fishing. So sunscreen, apply, go out a couple hours, whether you're swimming, you're not swimming, you're on the beach, tanning, reapply, prevent sunburn. One thing I've learned over the years with first aid training and stuff like that is your eyes can get sunburned. Well, we're not sticking that tube of sunscreen and rubbing our eyeballs. Wear your sunglasses. It always helps. And it doesn't take much to burn your eyes, and it doesn't heal just like a regular sunburn. After you've been out in the sun, the effect of the sun on your skin, the heat's already in your skin, and until that dissipates, your skin is still burning. So your eyes are going to keep burning. And so protect your eyes, protect your skin. We all want that beach body tan, and it's nice to have, but you got to know when to stop, and because that beach body tan will become red. You'll be the tomato. Same thing, camping, the wind. Wind burn is another thing that can happen. So all your exposures to the elements. The rain, April showers bring May flowers. Well, we're into May. We've already had the rain, but wet clothes, it's harder to keep your body heat. You're in wet clothes, you start shivering, you're going to shiver a long time until you get out of those wet clothes, put on some dry socks, dry boots. Staying dry and warm is safest for all. What else? Accidents. Anybody can trip and fall on a rock, hit their elbow, split their elbow open, have a first aid kit. It's always something that we bring in our backpack every time we go out, even if it's for a 10-minute hike or an overnight trip. First aid, know where you're going, have a plan, have somebody at home or at a contact number that knows where you're going, when you're going to be back, and if you don't come back, who to call to send someone for help to find you. Last thing we want to do is be lost and not know if someone's going to come and find us, because when we plan for a trip with our kids, we plan so much food for we're only gone 4 days, we bring 4 days food. Well, we bring 5 or 6 just in case, but when you're gone for 4 days and you don't come back and you're stuck there because, you know, Johnny broke his leg and it's hard to carry him out, we need to wait for help or send someone for help. You don't know how long it's going to take for, even if Johnny gets lost on the way to find help, you know. So there's always the element of what if when you're planning. That's the other thing, is before your trip, plan, think of everything that can happen. And if you think it may happen, chances are I would plan on it happening. Because so many times you get out there, something happens. Oh, well, I didn't think this was going to happen, so I don't have the proper equipment or the proper things to get out of the situation I got myself into. Right? I used to rock climb back in high school, and it was, yeah, okay, I got my ropes, I got my harness, I got whatever else I need to set up a belay station. We're going, and we get there, and a friend of mine, while he was halfway up the cliff, slipped, smacked himself, and we had to go up the cliff to get him down. Well, we weren't prepared. We didn't have enough ropes to send a second person up there, so we had to get creative and risky in the way we did a rescue for him. Thinking on your feet, so be prepared, have extra gear. Canoeing, water sports in the summertime, everybody loves to go kayaking, canoeing. Well, if you're going down a river, do your research before you leave. Make sure there's no rapids. If there's rapids or anything, head protection. Doesn't take long. You can flip and knock your head on a rock, and then your friends have to come rescue you. Life jackets. Never go on the water. Never get on any kind of canoe, kayak, boat without your life jacket. That it's a life jacket for a reason. It saves lives. Right? It keeps you afloat. People can come and get you, rather than to have to go and swim and dive for you. Just a lot of things we don't think about, and people say, oh, well, you should have common sense when you're going out. Well, sometimes common sense ain't enough, and you got to get ingenious. Think on your feet, think quick. But follow the basic safety rules: life jackets, helmets for the activity you're doing. You know, I wouldn't send my kid out on their bicycle without their helmet. So why would I go riding my bicycle without a helmet? You know, that's how we think. That's how we show the kids in our groups. There's risks on everything we do. It's how we mitigate these risks and assess these risks before we go out and do our thing, right? So the kids say, oh, well, we want to go ziplining this year. Okay, well, what's dangerous about ziplining? And then they tell us, well, you're at heights, you can hit other trees, you can do all this stuff. Okay, well, we use the proper gear, harnesses, we tie off, and we have helmets, and then it prevents injuries. Yes, there's going to be the scrapes where you're going to have to put a Band-Aid. You know, there might be, you're hiking, a child might roll an ankle, so we'll have to find a way to cool them off when we're in nature. You're in a more civil area, when you go get some ice, put some ice on it, get them looked by a doctor, right? Just, yeah, be prepared, use the proper gear, think about what you're doing before you do it. It's basically what it comes down to. So, is there any questions, anything I may have missed that you would like to know more?
How about the best way to for your food and stuff to deter the bears from coming?
Eat it all. No.
Like,
Hurry
is
up and
it
eat it all
safe
on
to
Friday
keep
night.
it in a cooler, or should you, like, is there?
It depends on your environment, where you're camping, right? Like, we go out in the wilderness and we carry everything on our backs or in our canoes. So it's mostly in pack sacks. And we don't usually try to bring anything perishable. Stuff that needs to stay cold, we'll have little ice packs. But yeah, we hang them up in a tree. We string a line between 2 trees and we hang them up in our bags. We just hang our bags real high where it would be more of a challenge for the bears to get to it. The cooler, any bear can come along and just swipe, the cooler goes open, and he's having an all-you-can-eat buffet.
Okay, that's interesting. Throw it in the tree.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah, my
and you also when you
oh sorry, go ahead.
okay. Also, when you are packing for a trip, you do keep that in mind that there might be bears out there. What can I bring that won't attract bears? Well, foods that smell a lot and put off an odor, bears will smell it. If you bring more, I know we like to do the hydration packs where you open an envelope, you pour it in a bowl, you put a bit of water, and it's more like a soup consistency, but the smell when you're traveling is not there. Right.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. I was just gonna say my dad is an avid camper, and he goes out like kind of in the middle of like it's not like a set camping spot, it's like Crown Land. And he canoes over. It's like a 4-hour canoe ride, and he just goes by himself. So we call him the Wild John because he just does his own thing. But that actually, so he was drinking. He had like a bottle of pop, like those Coke like glass bottles. So he had those for some reason instead of cans, and he ended up slipping on a rock and falling and cutting his hand on the bottle. So he had to like canoe the 4 hours back with his hand all wrapped up. He said he was so hungry he stopped at McDonald's before the hospital. I was like, Dad, I was like, why would you do that? But anyways, yeah, so just what you're saying of what if, like now he brings cans, he does not pack glass anything. So
yeah. But on the other side of that, in a pinch, when everything's wet, but the sun's come out, you could take a piece of that glass bottle, help magnify a nice small piece of tinder and light your fire. So it's a double edge here, but if you're prepared with, the proper other gear, you won't need that glass to start your fire. But it's also a tool at the same time, if used well. Thanks for that share.
And what type, I know this is more so common sense, but when you're sitting around a fire, there's some clothes are more prone to catch on fire than other clothes. So what would you suggest would be the more proper wear to sit around the fire?
I'm not very good with the materials types, but I know, like you said, like nylons, I guess it would be. If those catch, they'll shrivel and they'll stick to your skin. So you wouldn't want to wear the splash suit around the fire or have barely anything underneath, because if that sleeve catches fire, then you can get into some 2nd and 3rd degree burns. Safest thing to do would be try and stay upwind. If you're on the upwind, if the wind is at your back and the fire's in front of you, that wind is going to blow everything away from you, right? Semicircle around the campfire with the wind blowing away. Yes, things do pop and timber, and it goes in any directions. I'm not going to tell you that you have to go and buy Under Armour to go camping, but I know as far as winter camping, we tend to tell the kids not to bring cotton, because the old saying with hypothermia, cotton kills. It's not a great material to keep the heat in. It might seem comfortable and warm and cozy, but it doesn't insulate your body. Your wool clothing and stuff like that will help. But as far as fire, like you said, it might come down to common sense, but not everybody thinks, hey, I'm wearing these nice shorts today and go to the fire and oh geez, no, that popped and now I'm burnt. just be aware and be on guard, I would say. So like,
And then if you happen to catch on fire, you just kind of drop down and roll is the best way to
stop. Yeah, you stop, drop, and roll. Like I said, this is where the bucket of water comes in handy. If the bucket of water is nearby, or the garden hose, your friends can douse you out, help you. If you put a blanket over the person and choke out whatever's burning, right? That would be more in a situation where you catch on fires, you're going to have an accelerant on you, right? So if you happen to be that person who lights their fire with gas, everybody knows someone who does, good old vitamin G, and they got gas on their arm. Well, they come to light the fire, and next thing you know, you got your arm on fire. A blanket, a towel. If you take the oxygen and the air away from the fire, it will choke out the flame on something like this, right? I'm not saying put your fire out with a blanket, because that's burning too hot for what the blanket can achieve, right? I'm saying if it's someone on your person, on your body, wrap it up, get it wet, cool it down. And that's, then you call your first aid, look at your first aid kit, assess your burn, get them medical attention.
Right. Perfect. Anybody else have any other questions?
No, just thank you. This is very interesting with camping season coming up for sure. So thank you.
Some good tips. Up
Oh,
there.
one more thing I forgot. Stay hydrated. Lots of water, especially the summer coming.
Yes. And that's not with beer, that's with water.
Water, yes, H2O.
Perfect. All right, this is great. Thank you so much, Stephane. It's always good to hear some good tips, because not everybody thinks about these things, right? You just want to go camping and have fun, but there is a lot to think about. And
Yeah.
you have to be safe at all times. And it's good to be reminded of those extra steps to take to ensure your safety. So it was great to have you, and I appreciate it. So thank you very much.
Well, it was fun for me as well. Thank you very much for having me.
Perfect. Okay, thank you, everyone.
Have a safe weekend.
Thanks, you as well.
Bye-bye.
Bye.